The grand ballroom of an extravagant hotel glittered with luxury. The air was thick with the scent of freshly cut flowers and expensive perfumes. Dylan Hayes stood by the altar, dressed in an impeccable tuxedo. His fiancée Isabella Brooks at his side. The event was a celebration of wealth, success, and power, everything Dylan had fought for. Yet, amid the dazzling scene, his eyes kept darting to the entrance. His thoughts were consumed by the one person he couldn't stop thinking about, Chloe. He'd sent the invitation to her not out of kindness, but to make a point. To show her how far he'd come, how much he had things she would never have. Max, his best man, leaned over and whispered with a smirk, "You sure she's coming, man?" Dylan took a sip of champagne, his face a mask of confidence. She won't be able to resist. Chloe always needed to see what she could have had. Isabella, noticing his distracted demeanor, gave him a questioning look. "Who's she?" Dylan smiled faintly, brushing off the subject. "Just an old acquaintance." But deep down, he knew this wasn't just an acquaintance. Chloe had been the love of his life, until he'd walked away. The doors to the ballroom swung open with a dramatic creak. A hush fell over the crowd as heads turned in unison. Chloe Anderson stepped into the room, holding the hands of two young boys who had strikingly similar features to Dylan. And in her arms, a little girl, eyes wide and bright, watching the world with wonder. Dylan's heart stopped. The room seemed to spin around him. "No, it can't be," he whispered under his breath. Max, standing beside him, looked at the scene in disbelief. Are those? Dylan could hardly breathe. Chloe's eyes met his. But she didn't falter. She walked forward with purpose, her expression calm and unreadable. Isabella's face twisted in confusion and anger. "Who is that woman?" "Dylan." "What's going on?" But Dylan was too stunned to answer. His eyes never left the children. The boys Liam and Mason had his exact blue eyes, and the little girl, Grace, had his mother's smile. Chloe reached them, her gaze steady as she spoke. "I'm here, Dylan. You invited me, didn't you?" Dylan swallowed, trying to gather himself. His mind raced, memories of his past with Chloe flooding back. "Why didn't you tell me?" Chloe smiled a small, almost sad smile. "You never asked. But they're yours, Dylan, Liam, Mason, and Grace, our triplets." The room was silent, the air thick with tension. Dylan could hardly process the words. His thoughts swirled, drowning in the weight of her confession. "Why didn't you tell me when I left?" Chloe didn't look at him with anger, but with calm resignation. "I did tell you, you just weren't listening." The memories from 5 years ago flashed before Dylan's eyes. Chloe and he had been inseparable once, the perfect couple. She was his anchor when everything else in his life seemed uncertain. But the more he climbed the corporate ladder, the more disconnected he became. "I want more than this, Chloe. I want more than what we have. I need success, power, something bigger than this life we're living," Chloe had pleaded with him, holding onto his hands. "But we have love, Dylan. Isn't that enough?" He had turned away from her, his dreams of grandeur clouding his judgment. He didn't see the love she offered. He didn't see how much she had meant to him. And so, he had walked away, believing his ambition would fill the empty space in his heart. But as he stood there, looking at Chloe, the pieces of his life began to fall apart. He realized he had thrown it all away, her, the family, everything he had once wanted. Chloe stepped back slightly, her eyes soft but firm. "I'm not here to cause drama, Dylan. I wasn't invited to ruin your day, but I couldn't just stay away." Dylan reached out, his hand trembling. "Chloe, please, we need to talk." But Chloe shook her head. "No, there's nothing left to talk about, please." His voice cracked as he spoke. "Don't leave." Chloe met his gaze. "You left me, Dylan. You left us. I had to rebuild my life without you. I don't need you now." The words stung, deeper than anything he had ever felt. She turned to leave, her children following closely behind her. "Chloe, wait," Dylan called out, his voice full of desperation. But she didn't stop. Her back was turned, and the distance between them seemed to grow with each step. Dylan's heart ached. He had always been so sure of himself, of his choices. But now, for the first time in years, he had no idea what to do. Isabella, her face twisted with rage, grabbed his arm. "What is going on, Dylan?" "Who are those kids?" But Dylan was too far gone to answer her. His mind was still racing, but this time, it wasn't with thoughts of wealth and power. It was filled with the realization of what he had lost. Max slapped him on the back, but there was no humor in it. Well, that was an awkward twist. "Think you'll be okay?" Dylan didn't respond. He stood motionless, his eyes locked on the doors through which Chloe had exited. The wedding was a distant memory now, a mockery of everything he had built. Isabella stormed off, leaving him standing alone, questioning everything he had ever worked for. As the evening wore on, Dylan realized the truth. He could have had it all: the love, the family, the life he had once dreamed of. But instead, he had chosen wealth over everything else. And now, it was too late. He had everything and nothing all at once.